But transitioning to kind of our last section here is right now, currently, your students in school, and we do have mental health resources available in school. So, without getting, deep into, your specific stuff, you can feel free to keep as much confidential as you please. But just from a general perspective, um, what has been your experiences accessing student support services, whether it's a counselor, a social worker, or a school psychologist?
I've had to reach out to my counselor a few times for school reasons, and like it's never came to thought, I guess, that I can like actually talk to her about regular stuff. To me, a school counselor has always been strictly for grades in school, and it's never really like left that area, I guess, because I know that they're there, but it's not. I don't know how to explain it, but like it's not made clear, I guess.
I agree. I've honestly only like talked to my counselor regarding classes or signing up for new classes. Um, yeah, it's just never, I've never talked to any of the school counselors about mental health because it's just not something that's happened before.
I agree with both Jimena and Sole that I've been able to reach out to my counselor, but it's only been on a school class related basis. However, I have been able to work with Miss Schroeder with my CAPS project, and she's been able to give us a lot of great resources regarding mental health. It's kind of a topic that we've been working on in our internships that we have, and now knowing how much information she has and different great resources, that's definitely something that I will recommend to others if they are struggling. Ms. Schroeder has a lot of great resources, and she's a really great person to go to if you do need help.
In my case, since I kind of have two perspectives or two experiences with counselors and like school resources, I feel like the high school level of counseling and help and stuff like that is a lot higher than I would say in college. And the fact that they'll reach out, like I've had teachers reach out to me, I've had them recommend people. Like if they see something, they'll say something. But if you're in like a college setting, it's more of if you need it, the resources are there for you, but it's like your responsibility to look for it or get involved into that. So, and I also feel like there's a big pressure between, I'm not saying this is like for everybody or for like everybody, but I feel like male have this big pressure where they can't really, if they go and talk to somebody about their problems or feeling, they're seen as like a weak figure, or like other people will come at you for that. So I feel like that kind of steers us away from seeking help if we really need it. And then that's why we kind of don't, like we know the resources are there, but we ignore to seek that help. If that makes sense.
Adding on to what Gilbert is saying, I feel like there's such a negative stigma around, if you talk about like your mental health or if you talk about how you're not feeling the greatest, you're seen as like weak. And I feel like that's just the negative stigma around mental health that has been there since like the beginning of the conversation till the end. It's just always going to be there. However, I've also been working with Miss Shorter for my internship, and we've like come up with many great resources like an anonymous forum where students can feel free to just talk and just give us questions if they need help with anything, and we can even connect them to the resources that they don't know are available, which I think is pretty awesome.
Is really interesting is like the perception of, what a school counselor does, what they're for, what they're there for. Is if there's that perception of they're just the academic person, then why would you talk to them about your mental health? That almost would seem unusual. And it's so, I'm glad that you all pointed that out, because I think that is something that is common probably for a lot of students, where they don't know all of the different supports that might be available, or they think that maybe an adult in the building is just somebody who's just there for academics, and the mental health stuff isn't really covered. I also am interested kind of tying in the cultural piece as well. Culturally, sometimes there's different people have different views, and I'll give you an example. Coming from Black African American culture myself, there's a tendency to just kind of keep your business to yourself. And you don't do a lot of talking about what's going on in your life, especially the people that you don't know. For example, at a certain point, your support person, your counselor, your mental health person was a stranger. And that's kind of weird, just telling a stranger all of your business about your own personal life and your family. I wonder if there's any experiences. Do you feel like there's certain influences culturally there too that are similar? Maybe they're different. You tell me.
I feel like culturally, there's like this big, like in the Hispanic culture, a lot of us really love to talk. Like we're really open about a lot of things, but that's typically like with your family. Like it doesn't go beyond your family. Like it has to be your family. And if you're stuck with like a family that doesn't really listen or whatever, then that's what you're stuck with. We're kind of like raised to think like family is everything. Family is what or who you go to. Those are the people that you can trust. So when it comes to speaking to someone like at school or someone that you don't know, we're kind of like taught to steer away from that and like be cautious. You know, you can't really trust them. You don't know them. And I feel like sometimes that's like a good thing, but other times it can like hurt you in the inside because let's say you can't talk to anybody at home. You can't like open up to them because like let's say they're your parents and it's something that you did that was wrong or something like that. And it kind of like affects you and you're just like stuck in your own thoughts and you can't really go to anyone because you don't know how.
I definitely agree with that because I was also raised in a Hispanic household, and it's very much, my family is very much like family oriented, and they're like, you can't trust anyone else with your business except for your immediate family, and that's it. Like your cousins don't need to know anything, your grandparents don't need to know anything. It's just us. And like my mom's favorite quote is, at the end of the day, the people who are going to be there for you is going to be us, not a stranger. So I think that's definitely made it very difficult to open up to other people, including friends too, which is in some cases like unfortunate because you want to open up, but you already have that already posted a barrier that you've grown up with.
I completely agree with you because that, like, almost that exact quote, my dad says all the time, all the time. And yeah, just like the family oriented part, I agree with as well. And it can be difficult to just open up to people in general, especially after just hearing that like a lot. And yeah, it can just make things kind of harder.
Gilbert?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to add something. Also, like I feel like a lot of different cultures, not just like my culture in general, but they're very judgmental. So it's like everybody has their own conception or perception of what is right, what's normal, what's considered the correct way to act or be, or what's mentally stable. So like if something isn't in that strict like path of straight line, they automatically think something's wrong with you. You have like a mental illness, you have like you're different. So then they try to fix that by saying that, oh, like there's something wrong with you. And then as you grow up, that's like continuously put in your head that there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with you. And then like at some point you just mentally break and then there's like no one there to help you. And then like you're in like this bind where it's just a continuous like darkness where you can't really escape, if that makes sense.
That's an interesting dilemma too. On one hand, yes, you have your family and you keep things in house and because your family's there for you and protect you, but then kind of what can be a downside of it is that if your family isn't open and receptive, then who do you go to outside if you've never had those habits and routines? But I wanted to continue on that question. So you have support people here. Maybe you've worked with mental health support people either in school or outside of school. So considering all of that, what you just said, what ways do you like to be approached by mental health support people or school support people that could help open up, considering the dynamics that you have to work with, right? That maybe you come from a background where you're not telling all your business. Or maybe you come from a background where you keep things within your family, things like that. How would you kind of see support working with you in that situation?
In my case, like if someone were to approach me, I'd rather have them approaching me like in a friendship way instead of like directly addressing the problem or if they think something is wrong. I feel like once they be like, "Oh, I noticed that you've been down lately" or something like that, it's like you're already attacking them for something, and it kind of already shuts that opportunity of let's build this friendship first, let's build this connection, let's build like this bridge of trust before reaching a more sensitive topic, a more deep topic that that person might not be willing to speak about at that certain time, just of the level of trust and confidence they have in that stranger or that school counselor, whoever it might be.
Adding on to that, I feel like every student probably has a teacher who they feel like they can just come up to and talk to. And typically, that teacher has always initiated the conversation. They've been like, hey, how's it going? But it's never something like, hey, I've noticed that you're not doing too well in this. And I feel like that's such a good way for students to build that relationship with their teachers and for teachers to connect with their students.
So we've definitely covered a lot here. We're coming up to the end of our time. So we talked about your different definitions of mental health, your background and cultural beliefs and approaches to it, and things like that. And you know, I'm so glad you all were here to share this because I feel like it gives us a window into what experiencing mental health is like for students, but also it helps people who are in positions like myself who work with you all or folks like you all to give us better ideas for how to approach it in a way that's effective, in a way that's not to where you're not feeling attacked and things like that. So this has been a great table talk. I'm thrilled about this conversation. I feel like this would have gone a lot longer, but we will wrap up here out of respect for time. So until next time, we will catch you on the next video. This has been our mental health table talk live with Saber Paws, and we will see you the next time. Bye.